Hello and welcome to the Change Gang podcast with me, your host, Laura Ordile. I'm here to help you hold on to your sanity and your soul as you move through big change. I'm here to guide you from frustration to flow in your life, bridging the practical and the woo, just for you. Let's go. Welcome to the week, Change Gang. And Kelly Cookson is right back here with us to finish up and chat some more on positive psychology, how that's changed her life, how that can change your life, and a little bit more about what it is. And we talked a little bit about your story last week, Kelly, and your move from corporate into entrepreneurship at a very interesting time in the world, and how you stayed positive in that. And then you kind of came up against your own block and your own situation that led you more into positive psychology, intuition, all of that. And I am going to want to touch on that for a minute because I am who I am.
Love it.
You were talking about some of the different mindsets, and I want to kind of ask you about that in positive psychology. I'm going to dive right in, guys. I'm going to dive right in. So you talked about having a growth mindset and how it's really important for entrepreneurs to have that mindset of going forward, of moving in a direction, finding the positive things, even when there's difficult stuff going on around you, moving into that energy of positivity. And that's not in a foofy way of, oh, everything's wonderful, everything's happy, let's skip around, unicorns and rainbows. It's an actual grasping of what is good and right in my life, in the world around me. What can I move my focus and my energy into? Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. I think the concept of growth mindset versus fix is like, you've got to think about and reflect maybe on how is your mindset playing out in your lives in terms of how you're setting and reaching goals. So, I'm an entrepreneur running my own business. So clearly for me, I'm setting goals in terms of like money that I'm making and the lifestyle that I want to live. And I have goals around that. But outside of work, there's also, personal goals. Like I love being creative. I'm learning to play electric guitar from scratch. I've never played it before. So one of my goals is to be able to play a specific guitar solo this time next year, which is harder than I thought it was going to be. But I've set that goal. So I've got this growth mindset approach now of practicing guitar and seeing like, I can do this. I can do it. So it's about setting goals that are you setting goals that are small? So maybe are you keeping yourself small as well? I think is where growth mindset comes into play and fix. Does that answer your question? Sorry.
Yes. Well, and then you talk about that versus fixed mindset.
Yeah.
In positive psychology, is there more? Are there more types of mindsets, or is it basically growth and fixed?
Yeah, so I think the concept of growth mindset and fixed mindset is one area of positive psychology. So yeah, that's something that when I'm working with my clients, I will see that come up quite a lot, and where their growth mindset is coming into play or not coming into play if they're coming at it from fixed. But I think in terms of kind of other mindsets, so we talked last time about feeling like positive emotions, and one of the other areas that PosPsych goes into is around meaning and purpose. So I think feeling like you are connected to something bigger than yourself, and not necessarily in a spiritual way, although for people, who have religion or kind of spiritual meaning, then that can be one aspect of it. But for me, something that I've been working on a lot, which has had a massive effect in terms of how well my business is doing, is my big why, as I call it. So why am I doing this now? What is the meaning of it? And, I struggled with this for ages because, especially in the industry that I'm in, so I run an online business. So there are lots of very successful female entrepreneurs absolutely killing it in my space, like making great money and living that amazing lifestyle or whatever. They're on their yacht, whatever they're doing. But they all often have this huge meaning, like, or business mission. I want to impact the lives of 1 million women and help, change the world. And I think, oh my goodness, I don't have, like, that is not my vision. Like, I don't have anything that huge. And for a while, I was really struggling to tap into, why am I doing this other than, which is key. Oh, I just want to be there for my daughter and, have some money to take her on holiday and do cool stuff. It took me a while through the PosPsych work that I've been doing to realize actually being that kind of parent and that lifestyle is my big why. You know, I also want to help my clients and get them marketing and showing up regularly and doing all the great stuff in their business. It's actually okay that I don't want to impact or need to impact the lives of a million other women. Like, I am here making my corner of the world, my little community, a bit better as well. I'm very connected to what I'm doing in terms of like local charity work or getting involved with my daughter's school. And really, that's great. Like, that is my guiding light. So to realize through the post-site work that I've been doing that it's okay to have what in my eyes is a relatively small goal compared to whatever other people are doing, fixing on that, like, this is my why, has actually been the compass, the steering direction for my business. You know, it holds me from creating a monster again where I'd be working 50 or 60-hour weeks and never seeing my daughter. Like, that's not what I want to do. And it might mean that maybe I have grown my business slightly more slowly. I don't know, because I haven't run it the other way to test it, like by working twice as long or whatever. But it has meant that I've created something that I really love and enjoy and can get into flow and feel connected with and ultimately feel happy about.
Well, and isn't it interesting how we look at other people and think, oh, we should be doing that. We should think that. We should, you know, why aren't we wanting to impact a million people? Maybe that's what we should be doing to be successful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's not, if everyone was meant to be the same in this world, it would be a pretty boring place. And I think that we get trapped sometimes in the shoulds of what everyone else is doing or what the expectations are. And because also they do drive that, you know, you've got to do this and you have to be available and you have to make yourself bigger and you have to grow. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my goodness, I need a minute. Let me take a breath.
Yeah, we all do.
And so I think that when you do exactly what you did and you say, that is my why, my family right there. That's my why. Yeah. And that is big enough for me to be successful in what I want to do. If you have your heart and your energy and yourself invested in what it is and why you want to do it, then that's big enough.
I love that. Yeah. And it took me so long to realize that, you know, and it feels silly saying it now almost, but I think people do get so focused on like the money aspect of it. And do you know what? I think if you go behind the curtains or behind the scenes of some very on the surface of it successful, and I'm saying this in air quotes, successful people, they don't have that connection to the people around them or that meaning and purpose is really guiding them in the best way for them, and they're unhappy. So you can, like we talked about on the last episode about money, so you can get money does help with happiness. If you're poor and struggling, then money is going to alleviate some of that pain, but only to a point. It becomes a point where it becomes more about, well, money doesn't make you happy. It does until a point. But I think, you know, that's something that I have to remember a lot because I am very ambitious and I'm obsessed with my business. So I love it. And I'm so excited. Like, marketing is my passion. So how lucky am I working in a field that I love? But it means that if I don't keep the compass, an eye on the compass, I can start working a lot longer hours or, you know, kind of chasing after the next big money goal. And then before you know it, you look back and you've missed out the things that actually are important, which for me are time with my little girl and my husband and taking her to see grandparents while they're here, you know, like that's what we're doing after school. Instead of she doesn't go to a childminder and then I work, like we go off and we, as she says, we live our lives, mummy. I think she means we're living our best life, but she's like, mummy, we're living our lives right now. I'm like, yes, we are. It's so cute.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. I love that she says that. That's perfect. You're doing it right. You're just talking like that. So something you said in our last episode, and I want to kind of touch back. I'm going to take a little left turn for a minute, but you talked about when you made the change, when you kind of started processing and moving in the direction that you wanted to do. Yeah. You tapped into the positive things, but you also used your intuition. You started practicing through your intuition. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that show up? What did that?
So this is the more woo side, but I'm here for it. And I know you are too. So let's go with it. So the coach that I work with, she actually introduced me to Oracle cards, which, yay. So you know what they are, but they are not tarot. So I actually had a reading with her where I went to her house and she helped me, like we picked through some Oracle cards and just looking about the direction of where my life was at and where I wanted it to go, and like using those kind of the descriptions for each of the cards and all looking at the imagery and tapping into what that was telling me about my current situation, where I wanted to be. And honestly, it was life-changing. Like, I'm such a big fan of them now, and I have a couple of decks, but I think where they come in for me, and I don't use them all the time, but, you know, if I can just feel like maybe I'm trying to make a decision, or something's not sitting right with me, or just for fun, I've got some really beautiful decks that I'll pull out. So it's about kind of grounding. So I will sit and, you know, close my eyes and take some grounding breaths and really like kind of practice mindfulness, I guess, for a few minutes, like tap into myself. Oh, you've got your cards. That's so cool. She's showing me her cards. Love it. And then I will, you know, shuffle through the pack and then just pick one, turn it over, look at the picture, see what comes up for me for that, and then maybe read the description. And just so many times I've read them and a sentence or something in the imagery has jumped out. I'm like, oh my goodness, that is what I needed to see right now, or I needed to read, or that's really helped me to think about this problem or situation in a different way. So I'd never done that before. And it seemed a little bit like, oh, what is this? Is it tarot? Is it woo-woo? What is it? But it was just tapping into how I was feeling and getting a little bit of help with direction and making decisions. And yeah, love it.
And so did that lead you into working more with your intuition and kind of opening up and being more aware of it overall in work and your everyday life?
Yeah, I think like a great example of work is turning down work and money because I didn't want to do it. Which, you know, back then I was thinking, well, this person's going to pay me to come and do X, Y, or Z in their marketing strategy. Why wouldn't I say yes? Because it's money and that's what I'm in business to do. And actually, you know, I've worked with some amazing clients, and even the clients I mentioned last time that I split up with 90% of my clients 6 months in because they weren't right for me. They were great people, but the work that I was doing did not light me up. In fact, it depleted me quite a lot because it was very creative, intense, and not in my zone or field of genius. So I was doing work for industries that I didn't have a lot of experience in. So there was a lot of work to understand like how to execute on that plan or write the copy for whatever campaign. But I did it because they were going to pay me to do it. So why not? Like madness to turn down money and something that I could do, even though I didn't enjoy doing it. So I think what tapping into intuition is, I could then tell when I got on a call with somebody, if they wanted to work with me, if I wasn't feeling it, and I could be like, oh, there's like something here. Like either it's a red flag in terms of how they want to work or their personality and mine. And again, I could always do the work because I've got 14 years experience doing that. So I can do the job for them, but do I want to? So that was a game changer, because as soon as I started saying no to people that I didn't feel right about working with, the door was open for the dream clients to come on in. And I found that I was just attracting, maybe manifesting dream clients. You know, they were coming into my world like absolute great match. We got on great. The work was easy. They paid me well. So I credit the Oracle cards tapping into how I feel, like literally in my body when I'm talking to somebody, as to whether or not I want to work with them, which I never would have done that before. Never. I would have just said, yes, I can fit you in. Yes, we'll do it next week. Don't want to though.
And I love that. I love that. When we start to listen to, people think that intuition is, again, on the woo side, but it's something that we come into the world with. And it's, I often say it's not our sixth sense, it's our first sense. All of our other senses guide and show us what our intuition is trying to tell us. And through that, it sounds like, and I'd love to hear kind of the process, how it developed, that starting to say no to people and starting to really listen to what was right for you kind of came into dream clients that you're working with. Tell me about what your dream client is like now. What is your dream client? Tell me about who you're with, what that entails.
Cool. So I think for me, it's got to be somebody that wants to do the work. Now, I can help them a little bit more with that, with the mindset stuff, if there are any blocks come up, but there is a difference between somebody coming to you and asking you to help them with something, then they don't hold up their end of the deal, you know, and deliver the stuff to deadline, and things overrun. You know, with marketing projects, it can be a real nightmare. A scope creep is another thing that we often see, where people come to you for one thing and then all of a sudden they're throwing loads of other different tasks at you to do that weren't in the budget or we hadn't agreed. So all of that. So I think for me, in terms of dream clients, is that we've got a great vibe. So I know now when I get in a sales call and if we're chatting and the conversation is just flowing and there's like an energy, I often say to people that I feel like tingly about this project. Like I really want to work with you on it. Like I could feel it in my body. Like, yes, I really want to work with this person. So that for me is a dream client. Like I know I can help them because I've got the knowledge and the skills to do the job that they need me to do. But also we have that rapport, that conversation, that vibe. And I can just tell from the questions I've asked actually around whether they're going to hold up their end of the deal and deliver the bits to me that I need in terms of completing that project. So I'm very more attuned to that, and honestly just feel confident if I'm not getting those 3 things ticked off, that I can either send them someone else if I'm not the best person, and I'm happy to say I'm not the best person to help you with this, but I know somebody else who is, I'll send you there. Or, saying no, but I've had to say no a lot less. And this is where my woo side comes in, because I have this bit of a mantra, like I attract dream clients, like everyone wants to work with me, like dream clients are coming in. And I now tend to only speak to really great people that I genuinely want to work with. So there's no space in my life or my energy for the for the red flag clients anymore. Just got the good ones coming in.
Wonderful. I think that's amazing. And I find that happening with so many people right now, which in my world, I've talked with people about and explained a little bit, but things are really changing for a lot of people, where the people that they don't want in their life, it's just kind of naturally falling away because you're moving in a direction that you want to be moving in. You're moving into that energy and that flow. And when you're in there, if the other people are not in that same flow, they can't handle it. So they just drop away and away naturally. And I think that just makes the way ahead so much more open for you to continue to have those people that work with you. So do you work with people just getting started, people kind of established, people really established, a mix of all of them? Do you work with?
Yeah, mix. I think probably half of people coming to work with me have not really got a proper marketing strategy in place, or have ever really stuck to like a proper marketing plan or got an email list or anything like that. They're kind of beginners, whereas the rest have maybe done a little bit or are marketers themselves, but in a specific niche. So I tend to work with other marketers like who maybe are copywriters, or I've worked with SEO experts or blog writers, social media managers, but they haven't got the full marketing mix experience like I have, or they want to specifically focus on email marketing, which is one of my favorite like marketing channels. So I do a lot of work specifically on that as well. So 50% are probably beginners. The other 50% have done some, but need that help to move to the next level. And so I don't advertise that I exclusively work with women, but I've only got one male client at the moment. So I seem to attract women. I think like attracts like, but yeah, mainly kind of solopreneurs, or maybe they have like a virtual assistant, or they're thinking about growing a team, but mostly they're one woman bands who are trying to do it all. And they just like, they come to me, I just need a strategy. And it's like, okay, you do, but I know this mindset piece is going to come in at some point in our journey. And then I'm going to help you with that. So they're open to working on themselves as well, in terms of like who I love to work with.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? I think people that are moving in that energy, moving in just moving, doing stuff and trying and moving forward in some way, even if they make a misstep, even if it's not totally in the right direction or it's not totally here, they're still willing to go, okay, but I can still, just like you talked about your daughter, and just keep going. You just keep going. And when that mindset and that energy is there, I think that people can do what they want to do and get there and stay in a positive place and be in an okay place. So yes, I love, I think you're doing, I'm pretty sure I just saw that you're doing an email marketing class with Charlie Day. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. I do a lot of those kind of guest expert sessions. So yeah, email is definitely my jam. And I kind of say it's my secret weapon, because with this whole 20 hours a week model that my business operates in, I haven't got time to be churning out lots of content on social media all the time. I get a lot more impact from the email marketing side of my marketing mix. So that's one of the things I talk a lot about in terms of marketing strategy, like getting that list together, how you're going to connect with that audience and then ultimately sell to them, and use that as a business asset instead of this very disposable world that we're on with social media, where you've got to keep putting the stuff out day after day. And who has the time or energy for that? Certainly not me. Putting it in more into email marketing.
And it's a lot of energy. It is. I know that. And I'll be on your class listening to that.
Yay, cool.
But I'll be listening to it. because I'm building my world too, and on your side of the world, I'm learning about in the more practical and the marketing and all of that. I'm still learning about all of that and doing those things. So talking to you about some of it is super fascinating for me. And I tend to bridge the practical and the woo. So I think having that energy, tapping into the universe and asking the universe and having the mantras and having all of those things that are there are who I would be. And of course I do card readings. That's part of what I do too. I'm a professional intuitive, and so I work in that world, and I love cards. I think they're amazing, and they can guide people in so many ways just by picking out a color on them, and they help in business, and they help in your just everyday life. They help in everything. But then I think you got to have those practical things that come in that you have those go-to tools. You have the things that are solid and there and able. And when you can bridge those two and bring them into play, I think the success like you're having is what's wonderful to see coming into play.
Thank you.
Oh, and I did happen to see on social media that you are getting ready to do your first in-person event in a while. We're checking out venues. So what's going to look like for people? Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm so excited. So I do a lot of online stuff. And, as I shared last time, my business started in January 2020. So by March, we were locked down and it was all online. But luckily for me, I came out of that with lots of clients. So that was good. But I feel like 2023 in person is back. It was to an extent last year, but I feel like this year I have pushed myself to get away from the desk and actually go out and meet people in real life. And it's reminded me how much I love it. So I feel like this is something my business needs to bring to the table as well this year. So I'm bringing a full one-day in-person event in Nottingham, UK, where I live, and I'm going to bring people together for a day of two halves. So we're going to do the marketing strategy in the morning. We're going to have a nice lunch and some networking, and then in the afternoon, I'm going full pos psych, and we're going to do some visualizing around what we want our business to look like, and I'm going to help them tap into what it is that they really want, the meaning and purpose side of it. So we have that balance between the two. So I'm super excited about doing it in person. I've never done it that way before. It's always been online in much shorter sessions. So I can't wait to bring a group of people together. Like maybe, I think there's probably going to be about 10 of us, like a small group to start with, do strategy and mindset. So yeah, can't wait.
That's so cool. I love that. That's something that maybe it's just because we've been out of it for the and not able really to be out and about. But that was kind of my goal this year too, is to get out and be involved more in person in my community and with people in person. Hey, you're a person. And I
find out how tall everyone is. You just see their heads on Zoom. It's like, oh, you're like 6'3". Who knew?
That's funny. That's funny. But I thought wow, that's so cool. And I love that you are doing both things. You're doing the marketing, you're doing the business side, you're doing the mindset, the psychological side of it. And I think the energy of being in person brings out so much. It just charges it up. And I think it's going to be really cool thing for you. So if you're around there, if you're taking a trip over that way, then you should get in touch with Kelly and
it'll be all over my email list and my website and my socials when I'm just securing the venue. So once I have that and the date, I'll be marketing that and hopefully selling it out, and hopefully that'll be the first of many. So I'm sure I'm going to really enjoy it, and then I can bring more into my calendar for the later this year and then into next year, a proper events calendar. So that's the plan.
That's so exciting. Yay. I'm excited for you. I love to see things like that. Well, thank you so much for taking this time to chat with me. I truly appreciate it. It's been a joy to get to know you and to learn about the positive psychology. I wrote down the name of that book, Authentic Happiness.
Because Martin Seligman. Yes. Love him. You'll be a big Martin Seligman fan. I can just tell, like me.
Well, and I'm a book person.
Cool.
So I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being here. And Change Gang, I hope that you have a great week ahead. And I will meet you right here, same time next week.
I hope today's episode was interesting to you in some way and fun. If so, hey, find someone to share it with. Maybe they need to hear it too, or maybe they'll just enjoy it. If you'd like, go ahead and grab my tips on supercharging your success. It includes a free short meditation to do just that. You can find that at bit.ly/supercharge your success. Until next time, happy day.